Now then, Parliament is a hive of activity this month. This Thursday is an important day for South Africans. This is when the country's finance minister delivers his much-anticipated budget speech. Less than a week ago, South Africans were glued to their television screens for the State of the Nation address. But the past SONA and the next budget speech are not the only times that the country's citizens will be keeping tabs on Parliament. Every 5 years, South Africa holds two SONAs due to the fact that the country holds national elections once in 5 years. Now, from this, one can maybe safely assume that South Africans are fond of parliamentary activities, but then how does this passion of Parliament actually translate into domestic tourism stats or even international tourism stats? Well, to find out, we brought in Unathi Sonwabile Henama. He is a lecturer, a tourism lecturer at the Tshwane University of Technology. Sir, thank you very much indeed for your time. Appreciate your time. Let's just talk about the last State of the Nation address last week, this week. Just tell us about the draw card. Was it a big draw card in terms of domestic tourism?
It is a big draw card because you find that the politicians that go to Cape Town, the media, support staff, so it would have a positive impact on domestic expenditure within the city of Cape Town. And I believe that it is very, very important because it gives the city that great thing that it's got Parliament in the city center, which attracts a lot of people, because you find cities all over the world are trying to use the heritage that they have to attract people, because people will come for our wine, they'll see our wildlife, but also they want to know the heritage story of any city. And Cape Town is blessed to have a beautiful parliament with a great also a bust of Nelson Mandela there, which has obviously increased the interest of people trying to go to Parliament. Yeah,
Nelson Mandela is obviously a huge draw card in terms of tourism, but has Parliament always been a major tourism draw card?
It has always been, but remember, post-1994, then we had to have a different story about Parliament. Hence, from a heritage perspective, we had to put a bust of Nelson Mandela to make it inclusive, because our heritage is inclusive between 1994 and post-1994, and that's the way we should look at it going forward, that we use this heritage as a product we sell to our international tourists.
So you're saying by simply putting a bust of Madiba, that made a huge difference?
It made a huge difference. I mean, in Bloemfontein, they put a statue of Nelson Mandela of Naval Hill, and that was part of the regeneration project for the city of Mangaung. So it is a major draw card. You also see what happened to Union Buildings, where they put the statue of Nelson Mandela, which is the highest in Africa. It just created just this big draw card. So it's about that important lesson. And tomorrow, which is an important day, the 11th of February, is the day that Nelson Mandela was released from Vista Fester. So the question is, what are we doing about that? What is the story in each and every town with the release of Nelson Mandela?
Look, the vibrancy of Parliament of late and the robust discussions that happened there, is that also a draw card?
It should be a draw card, and not only that, it should become a very, very important lesson on what is parliamentary procedure and how do we use the vibrancy of Parliament to take out the story on why this institution is so important for the maintenance of democracy.
There's this talk that Parliament, the move of Parliament from Cape Town to Pretoria, or from the Western Cape to Gauteng, what sort of impact will this have on, if that is the case, have on the Western Cape economy?
Well, I don't think it will be a major impact, because the Western Cape is the hub of tourism in South Africa. And I believe that if it moves to Gauteng, Pretoria, the city of Cape Town actually benefit from less traffic, So this is the most important tourism city in South Africa. So I don't believe there will be a negative impact. The tourists will fill up the loss of MPs and their support staff to Gauteng.
What about Gauteng? If you look the flip side of it, how will Gauteng benefit if the move happens?
What I've heard is that they are planning to build the parliament around the area of Freedom Park, which is quite a declining area. So it might lead to regeneration and increasing house prices. And
yeah. Tell us about tourism in South Africa. How have we been doing of late compared to other international countries?
South Africa, I don't think will achieve more than 5% growth in tourism year on year, because of the visa regulations, safety and security, and also aviation policies. But I believe that there is right now political will to ensure that there is a collaborative effort to use tourism as an enabler. The president, during the January 8 statement, spoke about a whole of government approach to tourism, which becomes the new methodology of how we should look at the tourism sector. And obviously, we are waiting the Minister of Tourism to articulate that during his speech.
You mentioned visa regulations, you mentioned aviation policies. Break it down for us. what are some of the challenges in these areas?
We want as many airlines to come and dock in South Africa and connect here at OR Tambo, because right now you find that Ethiopia Airlines has taken as the most important connecting hub in Africa after Dubai, and we must protect OR Tambo as the most important hub. Number two, it must be easy for people to come to South Africa, and I'm not speaking about Europeans because most of those countries are visa free. There is a visa whiteness about the system in Africa where it is more easier to get a passport, a visa for America than to come to South Africa. And these people are spending a lot of money. The latest results indicate that India has grown by 25% because we remove visa regulations for them, even Angola at 40%.
Yeah.
So these are the important for us to understand that the whole world is moving towards visa-free travel as an enabler of growth in the economy.
Yeah.
And then lastly, the most important thing, safety and security. And when we speak safety and security, we are saying we must put a human face of a local that when I am a victim of a crime, that is a national security issue. And that means that safety and security must be a dividend enjoyed by each and every South African. And then that will translate into safety for tourists. In tourism, we say something very simple. If the cities are green enough for the people to stay there, then the tourists will naturally come.
You know, you're talking about safety and security, and the other day I was on holiday and I was just sitting by the poolside and listening to a few tourists, and they were talking among themselves, and they were talking about areas in Gauteng that they can't go. They were told, no, if they go there, they will be shot. These are the exact words that they were using. So a lot of misinformation is out there with regards to areas that people can go, and there's this perception that South Africa is very violent, so we can't go there. I mean, is South Africa and tourism bodies in South Africa doing enough in order to dispel some of these misinformation?
The tourism authorities in the country are doing an excellent job in trying to promote the country. But remember, there is one challenge in South Africa. There is lack of patriotism, you know. We are sometimes the worst people ever about our country, and this is the best country in the whole world. You know, we just need to get a few things right. But to speak about safety and security, in any country you go to, you'll be told this area is safe, this area is unsafe. But I believe in South Africa we speak too bad about our country, and to be honest, not every place in South Africa is unsafe. And the unfortunate part is that the areas which are classified unsafe are the areas that are supposed to lead to transformation, like your townships, ensuring that the tourism dividend is shared by everyone.
There's always this friendly rivalry among provinces, isn't it, in order to garner the most domestic as well as international tourists. I know when I was covering tourism in Durban, there was always this rivalry between Durban and Cape Town and who's getting the most international tourists. What's some of the stats saying in terms of which are the most popular provinces in South Africa for international tourists?
Cape Town is number one. But Durban has, in the past couple of 3 years, been, working very, very hard. You also find that British Airways is now flying direct from Durban. So I believe they've been doing a lot of great work. But the rivalry is good because obviously we are trying to create more different products and obviously offer a great experience in Durban, Cape Town and Johannesburg.
What more can be done?
I think the most important thing should be done is that we must ensure that local government works and it makes it easy for people to create establishments.
In terms of your experience, what are some of the hindrances, apart from the visa regulations and the flight, the flights that you were talking about coming in here, apart from the crime, what else needs to be worked on? Are we going internationally to these fairs? I remember going to London and covering I think it's the World Trade, WTM, the World Trade Market, and there was a huge stand there promoting South Africa in UK. Is this happening frequently?
This is happening frequently. Remember, the tourism indaba is the third most important travel show in the whole world after ITB in Berlin, WTM. So we are doing a lot of, and the conversation right now is that we are promoting Africa as an entire product, because we understand that we cannot compete with each other, but we must collaborate as African countries and speak about this great African story.
All right, let's leave it there. That was Unathi Sonwabile Henama. He's a tourism lecturer at the Tshwane University of Technology. Thank you very much indeed. When you're going on another trip, please take us along with us so we can compare other countries as well to South Africa. Thank you very much indeed for your time, sir. Okay, the South African National Editors Forum has called for an urgent meeting with the Minister of Communications, Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams. This after Ndabeni-Abrahams blocked journalists from covering the action of protesters at an ANC manifesto launch in KwaBaqa, formerly known as Montfrey, yesterday.
I was horrified when I saw that video. I mean, I was, it saddened me very much, honestly. And I mean, also, I think just to take the moment to you know, commend the journalists for first of all publishing the video, and then the SABC for covering it. It shows a very different position that the broadcaster is in compared to, you know, 2 years ago. But still, to have that sort of blatant